Hello, and welcome to Not Just Books, the monthly television show about your Williamson County Public Library and our wonderful community. I'm Dolores Greenwald, the director of the library. Thank you for joining us today, and please stay tuned for some important information regarding the 150th commemoration of the Battle of Franklin. In our Your World segment, I'm pleased to have JoAnna Stevens. She is curator of the Carter House and Carton Plantation. She will be discussing some activities and programs that you'll want to attend. On our Save the Dates segment, my guest is Julie Duke. She's manager of the Teen and Children's Departments and will be discussing a program that you'll definitely want to save the date for. On our What's Hot in Books segment, we'll be discussing the latest publication from Academy Park Press titled Bullets and Bayonets, a Battle of Franklin Primer. Lisa Harmon, who is a cataloger at the Williamson County Library, and Suzanne Sparks, who is Technical Services Processor, will be joining us. Did you know you can share a special story on our website? All you have to do is visit our website at wcpltn.org and click My Library Story. You can tell us why the library is important to you and to your family. We'll share your thoughts with other patrons of Williamson County Public Library on the sidebar of this page. Hello, welcome back. In our Your World segment, we talk about things that are happening in Williamson County and introduce you to folks who are really important to help make this the community that it is. And please help me welcome JoAnna Stevens. Hi, JoAnna.
Hello.
She's curator at the Carter House and Carton Plantation. And how long have you been the curator?
I have been working there. This is my 9th year for my time there.
You've seen some changes. We were talking about that a little earlier before we went on air.
That's right. A lot has happened in a relatively short amount of time. We've joined Carnton and the Carter House together. Mm-hmm. The Battle of Franklin Trust now manages both sites. And it's a lot of changes leading up to the sesquicentennial, of course, this year, the 150th anniversary of the Battle of Franklin.
Well, I guess it is no surprise to our viewers that this is why you're here, to talk about the 150th sesquicentennial. So tell us a little bit about what will be going on.
We've got a lot of different things going on. Probably the most looked forward to, most expected event is the reenactment that will be taking place this year. That's going to be November 15th and 16th. And so that'll be a 2-day affair, Saturday and Sunday. We're selling tickets. Those go on sale September 15th. And we're selling those at both locations and online. We will have about close to 900 reenactors that'll be doing 2 different battle scenes. And we've also got our annual illumination, which will be 10,000 luminaries to represent the nearly 10,000 casualties of the battle, and that will be on November 30th, the actual anniversary of the battle.
Well, one of the things that would be interesting to your viewers about the battle is that it was very intense, the intensity within a short amount of time. And I would think the lighting in the cemetery illustrates that.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. The illumination, it's a very solemn and poignant event. It's not a celebration, it's really a commemoration. And it's been very well received. We've had it in different locations in and around Franklin for the last, I believe, 6 years that we've held it, downtown on the square, on Columbia Pike, and in various spots. And so it's a good reminder that in just 5 hours' time, a relatively short amount of time, that nearly 10,000 casualties resulted from that. And that's a tremendous impact, not just on those men and their families, but really the community of Franklin in 1864.
You also, at Carton Plantation, have a commemorative exhibit going on. Tell us a little bit about that, and who are the sponsors? Who helped put this together?
At Carton Plantation, we've transformed the display gallery into a special exhibit. It's entitled Battle Scarred. It's about 1,600 square feet, and it's open when the plantation is open, so Monday through Saturday 9 to 5 and Sundays 11 to 5. The actual exhibit took a little over 2 years to really in detail to plan, and it's been a labor of love, and definitely had its challenges, but it's been a great experience. So through that exhibit, we've collected over 100 different objects from our collection, as well as private collections, institutional collections, and we've gathered together objects. Many of them have not been together since the Battle of Franklin. And we've got all kinds of personal objects. Descendants have loaned things that their ancestors actually used in the battle, and we have a variety of cases in there incorporating those different objects.
Who were some of the main sponsors?
We have Williamson Medical Center graciously sponsored our family night event. So the third Thursday of every month from now until the end of April, we're open late, and we have a discounted admission for families. So free for children, and we're having children's activities during that time.
Tell us briefly about the children's handout, because when I went through the exhibit, which is magnificent, I noticed that there was a handout for kids. Tell us a little bit about that.
We worked really hard to provide a different element to the exhibit, because it's a lot to think about and a lot to talk about, especially for young children. So we created a guide called Harvey's Travels. Harvey is actually a dog that was a mascot for the 104th Ohio. They were over by the cotton gin. Many people are familiar with that, near where the Domino sits today, not too far from the library. And Harvey survives the battle, and so we've actually placed paw prints on the floor throughout the exhibit to correspond with the booklet and different activities that are kid-friendly. So Harvey kind of takes the kids on a little journey through the years before the war and the battle.
I loved that handout. I thought it was great. I thought it was great. If there's more information people would like to know about Carnton Plantation and Carter House, can you give us a website address or a phone number to call?
Certainly. We can always be reached on our website, battleoffranklintrust.org. Carnton Plantation has its own website, but it links to it. So it's Carnton, CARNTON.org, or you can always call 786-1864 is the phone number.
Oh, 1864, I like that.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much for joining
All right.
us today, JoAnna.
Thank you. I appreciate
and we'll
it.
be right back. Hello, and welcome back. In our Save the Date segment, I'm privileged to have Julie Duke here. She's the manager of the teen and children's departments at the library. Also, we'll be talking about two very important events coming up surrounding the 150th sesquicentennial of the Battle of Franklin. Welcome, Julie. Thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm glad to be here. It's always
And
fun.
we have this program to specifically kick off a very important thing. You want to tell us about that?
I do. We have a library project. The library now has an imprint called the Academy Park Press. And this summer, and I think we started back in the spring, several library employees have put together a project for the sesquicentennial, a book about the Battle of Franklin for kids. And it's called Bullets and Bayonets, a primer of the Battle of Franklin. And I'm proud to say that I've been a part of that. My husband has too, as a volunteer. He's a historian and teaches history. We also have very talented other staff members that have been working on another writer, Lisa Harmon, Rebecca Tischler, and Suzanne Sparks have been fabulous in doing the layout, and we've got some really nice graphics, photos, modern and historical, and two editors whom we could not do without, Jeffy Nicholson and Sharon Riley, and of course other people too have lent a hand, and I think that we are proud of what we've produced.
Absolutely. And we're going to be talking to some of the other folks you mentioned in a few minutes. But this event that's on October 12th, tell us a little bit about that.
That is a family program, and it is the official release of our book. It's still a we're still in the planning stages, but we have some fun things planned already. We're going to have borrowed from the Tennessee State Library, State Museum, excuse me, not library, State Museum, a traveling trunk. It's a hands-on exhibit, and it's got fun things for kids too. Let me get my list out here. It's got a Union sack coat, so the kids can try that
cool,
on.
Cool,
Of course, the soldiers wore wool, so that's going to be nice and heavy and hot. Some brogans, which were the type of shoes they wore. A haversack, which is like a knapsack.
Mm-hmm.
Every soldier had one that he kept his personal things in. There's going to be a CD of some music, and they're going to have lots of photographs. Also a sample of a Civil War bullet, which are very different from kids, what kids are used to seeing in modern times. And
also for teachers and parents, there will be lesson plans.
right,
too.
there's lesson plans in this. So we're on this schedule. We haven't got the trunk yet, but we're very excited to see what's in it. We'll also have a few, not all the artifacts that are in the book, but we'll have a few artifacts on display that are, original Civil War era, that are not hands-on necessarily, but still will be interesting for kids and grown-ups to see.
And we also have an event that Thursday prior to our Sunday event. The foundation, Williamson County Public Library Foundation, is hosting an after-hours event Thursday, a ticketed event, and that we will have Eric Jacobson from the Carter House and Carton Plantation, and Brian Lane, who's been on this show and talking about his book. So that will be of interest to folks too. And they can call our number at 595-1250 and find out more information on that. So it's going to be from 2 to 4. And also, will there be reenactors? And
We're working on that. We're hoping that we'll find some folks that are available. This is a busy time of year for reenactors because the weather is moderate and not quite as uncomfortable wearing those wool uniforms. So, but we're hoping that we'll get some. We also are going to have a very special guest making an appearance.
Yes, we
and
will.
that's President Abraham Lincoln.
Yes.
And he will be there. Probably, I think he'll be there both hours. And at some point, he'll be delivering a talk. And
I am very excited about that. President Lincoln made a visit to us not long after I started working at the library.
about 3 years ago.
We
yeah.
had the Lincoln exhibit, and it was just amazing. His passion, he just brought tears to my eyes. It was just
It's Mr.
wonderful.
Dennis Boggs. He lives in Nashville, and I just don't have words to say how wonderful
No,
he
he's
captures the
amazing.
spirit.
He is amazing.
He's kind and smart and everything you imagine
Yeah.
President Lincoln to have
Yeah.
been. So we're very excited that he will be able to come, and that's it's going to be just fun to see him again.
So we are encouraging families to come for that event. I think it'll be very interesting and educational.
We hope so. We really do.
And if you would like to find out more about our programs for children, where can they go to?
They're all on our website. It's a great place to find out what's coming up for kids and for teens. You can call the children's number directly. That's 595-1244. And the teen department is 595-1278. Lots of fun things going on.
And they can also sign up for our weekly e-blast.
That's
too,
right.
Which tells all the programs that we're doing, and that is ref@williamson-tn.org. You can just sign up there. And Julie, thank you so much.
thank you.
We are so looking forward to these events in October.
I know it's an incredibly special time to be here for the
Yes.
150th. I think
Yes.
everyone's real excited.
And we'll be talking again. Thank you very
Okay,
much
thank
for coming.
you. It's
And
great
we'll
to
be
be
right
here.
back. Hello and welcome back. In our What's Hot in Books segments, we have Lisa Harmon and Suzanne Sparks. And we're going to also talk about the library's 150th sesquicentennial book that we just put together. So welcome. Thank you both so much for coming today. You were both kind of drafted for the project for various reasons. So I think I'll ask Lisa first. Sure. Tell us about your interest in the Battle of Franklin, and when did it start?
Probably started when I was a child, listening to my parents and grandparents and great-grandparents discuss our family history, and discovered that I had some ancestors that fought in the Battle of Franklin. The battlefield was close. I'm a native of Murray County. Was able to come here, see the Confederate cemetery at the time and the Carter House. This would have been back in the 70s. Mm-hmm. And just interest in family is where it first started, and it sprung from there.
I was going to say it kind of evolved into an overall interest in
the battle itself.
In the battle itself. Mm-hmm. And you also worked at Carnton.
I did. I volunteered at Carnton starting in the middle 1980s. I worked every weekend for about a year, Saturday and Sunday, just as a volunteer, and then they hired me to work full-time after that, and I worked there till 1989 and enjoyed it very, very much, and it's very changed since the middle 80s.
Yeah, there has been some changes, yes. I'm sure. And Suzanne, you come at this kind of as a novice about the battle. I knew I did. So you have worked on the Bucky and Bonnie project, mm-hmm. and so you were kind of our layout expert here. So tell us what you were doing as part of this project.
Well, I was the layout expert, we'll call. So I worked with our resident photographer, Rebecca, and the first thing we did was talk to Lisa and some of the other writers about where in town to go take pictures. Mm-hmm. And we went out and took pictures at Carnton and at Carter and at some of the buildings that were hospitals at the time that are still standing. And then JoAnna graciously let us come take pictures of the artifacts that Carnton has, which were fascinating. Mm-hmm. And that was really what sparked my interest for it, seeing things that soldiers had left on the battlefield, you know. So that was really interesting. So it was real fun to get each chapter and learn about it and figure out how to do the layout to best portray the story and show off the artifacts we had and the locations we had pictures of.
This was such a team effort. I mean, it was the two of you. We had Julie Duke, who we talked to a few minutes ago, and her husband, Larry. We had Rebecca. We had Jeffy and Sharon doing editing. So it was just really, it was a team effort. And it turned out very, very well. How did we put the layout together? How did we put this all together?
As a team.
As a team.
Yes. We did it through a program called Adobe InDesign, and
had a storyboard.
Oh yes, we had. That's right.
Storyboard.
We had a huge 3-walled storyboard in our boardroom where we all sat and collected ideas and put them up there with Post-it notes. It was a different way of working for me.
But it helped me, I think, get a clear mm-hmm. picture of the whole process.
Yes.
Because like Lisa and Julie and Larry, they did the heavy writing part of it, which was beautiful. And so we, coming from different perspectives, I think it was good to have it all on a storyboard out where everybody could see it at one time. Yes. I took it down the other day, and it was kind of odd. I'd been up there for a while.
I know, it had. It's like, oh, the walls are so bare now.
Well, Lisa, talk about the writing for a minute.
Okay.
When we were very meticulous about our facts.
Yes.
Tell us the facts that are in the book. Tell us what sources that we used for that.
Well, what I used, and Julie, used as many local sources as we could. There are, luckily, I guess, for lack of a better word, there are many personal reminiscences of the townspeople here in Franklin who witnessed the battle, which are just invaluable for information. Many of the soldiers who survived the battle wrote their memoirs, and we tried to use as many first-person accounts as we could, and we feel like by using the words of the people that participated, we get really a better story and a personal experience on not only how intense the battle was and how violent and with facts and casualties and so forth, but you also get the way that the townspeople, how they hid, the Carters hid in their basement, in their cellar, not knowing what was going to happen and having to listen to a battle raging above their heads. Hearing their words brings it all home.
There's one source that we used that was an oral history account that it kept coming up when we first started to put this together.
Right.
And is that one of the sources that you mentioned?
One of the main sources that we used to get us on our path to writing the book and branching out into other sources. We did use Eric Jacobson's books. We used all of his books that he's written. We also used some of Rick Warwick and the Williamson County Historical Society publications. But there's a great book called Eyewitnesses at the Battle of Franklin, and it's a series written by David Logsdon, and he basically went to newspaper accounts, Confederate veteran, and took direct quotes from people's memoirs, letters they had written about the battle, and there's just a wealth of information there, and we used it quite heavily, quoting experiences of the participants.
Some of the quotes are very riveting where
Yes.
I know when I went through the exhibit at Carnton, where soldiers were talking about not being able to see for the smoke of
Yes.
all the weapons.
Yes.
It's just, it's amazing.
It's chilling to think, and to think too that the greatest part of this battle was fought after dark.
Yeah.
And then you have the enhancement of the smoke from the weapons. I can't imagine the fear and not knowing
And
what's
for
going
a battle, too. It was a short amount of time.
Yes, a very short battle. The shortest, there were more casualties at the Battle of Franklin than any other battle of the Civil War for the time frame. It was just a short 5-hour battle. 10,000 casualties is a round number. That's concluding Union and Confederate casualties, but there, of course, were many more casualties on the Confederate side. That's quite a lot for a 5-hour battle, from 4 p.m. approximately till 9 p.m. that night.
Well, Suzanne talked to us a little bit about the pictures. Rebecca, who's also been on this program with me, actually took a lot of them. She has a really, really good eye. But in order to make them the quality that we needed in the resolution and everything, talk a little bit about that process.
Well, she fortunately had a very good camera, so that is a good first step. And the good eye is quite helpful too. We had to get them up to a higher resolution, so fortunately we were able to do that in Photoshop, and they just look stunning. I can't wait until we can actually see them in the book, because they're vivid, and she makes the colors pop with the way that she edited the pictures. And she was also quite talented at taking the artifacts away from their settings, and so we were able to just place them in the book with no background, so that you really get a sense of how powerful they are as pieces of history.
It really grabs your attention
Yes.
when you see them. So she also went to a reenactment and took some pictures of reenactors, and they were marvelous.
They turned out spectacularly, and we have had contact with some of those reenactors And they are also very excited about the book.
I bet, good.
So that's good to hear from a small portion of what we hope our audience will be.
Okay, one of my
They're
favorite
excited.
pictures, though, is the one that we used for promotion with the cannon.
Oh, yes.
Tell us about that one.
There is a cat on the Carter House property. He actually belongs to the flower shop next door, but he comes over, a ginger colored tabby cat, I guess, and he's nicknamed General Claiborne. And he loves people, and Rebecca and
Which
I-
is unusual for a cat.
It is
He's a
very
true people
unusual for a
cat.
He's very much a people cat, and Rebecca and I are both cat people. So we enticed him to jump up on the cannon barrel, and he was even so gracious as to peek over and stick his head in.
Yeah, it's
the
a great
cannon
picture.
barrel.
It's a
So
great picture.
We really loved those.
Yeah.
We were very excited to show you those.
But and we talked with JoAnna earlier, but the way they used Harvey for the kids in their exhibit, and then we have a little section about Harvey, and I think that, and I love animals anyway, but I think that's a very good part that kids would relate to. And also, we need to mention real brief, this book is on an 8th grade level.
Right.
And talk a little bit about the parents. We're hoping that this book will spark some interest in Franklin, in the Battle of Franklin, to bring folks out. And I think students have to have research and stuff they have to do on the Battle of Franklin this
Right.
year. So y'all want to talk a little bit about that and maybe how it will connect?
Well, apparently, the Battle of Franklin is now on a statewide curriculum of battles that all students must study and that they discuss in the classroom. And, of course, perhaps residents of East or West Tennessee are not as familiar as we are here in Middle Tennessee with the battle. So we're hoping that this will help teachers locally, but also statewide too, with some interesting facts. Maybe, definitely not as in-depth as a book written on an adult level, but with enough information to really familiarize the students with the battle and what the common person, the common citizen here in Franklin, what it was like and how some kids that were all children that were here at the time, how they experienced the battle for themselves.
Well, thank you so much for coming and also being put under these hot lights. And thank you so much for your hard work on the book.
Thank you.
It's just beautiful.
Thank you.
It's almost bringing tears to my eyes now, but it's a beautiful, beautiful book. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for being here, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Not Just Books. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you liked the show and will watch us again. I would like to thank my special guests, Lisa Harmon, Julie Duke, JoAnna Stevens, and Suzanne Sparks. And if you have any comments or suggestions for future programs, please contact me. The email address is notjustbooks@williamson-tn.org. We're doing some exciting things here in Williamson County, and you would want to watch the show and not miss it. And until next time, explore your world and read.